going to talk about is MCI and kind of work through triage and incident command system and things along those lines. Again, this is kind of one of those hot topics that is starting to kind of come back into being popular. So we'll kind of talk about that a little bit. This point here.
Does it need new batteries?
Oh, probably. I think he just gets mad that I walk away from it.
So, so what we're talking about here is mass casualty. Do we know what event we're looking at?
Boston.
Yeah, the Boston bombing, right? So we kind of talk about looking at this, and you know, it's what always sucks is we take these events, and I feel like EMS takes an event like this and just tears it apart, right? We talk about what worked, what didn't work, how our agency would do it different. We don't do it that way, and ours is better, and yada yada yada. So let's do that for a second, and let's look at this. What are some problems that you can see with this triage area? It's really congested, right? How easy would it be for the yellow person on this tarp to be like, well, I don't want to be on the yellow tarp, I want to be on the red tarp. So they just walk over to the red tarp, right? Like they're really, really close together. What else? Anyone can just walk over. Yeah, so what about the whole like scene containment idea? Now, everyone's like, well, law enforcement's there. Yeah, but what's their priority? So maybe, what do you think is on their mind? Investigation, right? And safety for everybody. So you got these law enforcement guys who are up here, but they really can't keep track of all these people flowing in and flowing out of your scenes. What else? Like, I'm a little paranoid. We're going to talk about the scene safety stuff, and you're really going to think I'm paranoid by tomorrow. But my thought is, how easy would it be to kill about 50 EMS providers right now? A car bomb. In this case, it was a pressure cooker and a backpack. All you have to do is put it right there, right? And you take out the entire triage area, right? We're all like Pearl Harbor together here, and we're all really close-knit, and we're not that safe. So if you have to do this, at least give yourself some, hey, let's pay attention to the traffic in and out of this, right? I've had students say, well, that ambulance is probably too close for staging. I'll bet it's not staged. I'll bet you that was their one bus they stripped supplies off of, and they're using it as a supply cache, basically. So I highly doubt this was there for transport. I'm sure this is more there for the side of stripping supplies. Okay? So here's kind of, in my opinion, especially on the triage side, here's what it's all summed up as. Somebody always comes back and says, you should have done it like this, you should have done it like this, right? Well, that's easy for you sitting in your recliner on a Sunday afternoon listening to the scanner on your phone, but you weren't there, right? Triage, we always have the, well, hey, Ryan, how come you didn't red tag that patient, you black tagged them? Or how come you black tagged them and you didn't red tag them? Why were you doing CPR on a person on the roadway when there's 4 other patients to tend to? Like, there's all those, why did you do that? I did it different. I'm sure if we put agencies side by side, right? Mike and Kid do it different than Deer Park Ambulance, different than AMR, different than wherever, because we all have our own ideals and our own way this should work. So I'm not going to concentrate on that on this PowerPoint. We're going to talk about what should be the consistency between all these agencies. Make sense? So this video, we're only going to watch for like just a few seconds. But what they do is they've paired the radio footage or the radio traffic with video footage. They link these exactly. You can see the second blast down here in a second or two. Down here.
UCC, did I hear that correctly? Yeah, confirm it. This device just went off. All units be advised to expose the device. Everyone use caution, please.
kind of, if you want to watch the whole video, you can YouTube it, but they sound pretty calm, cool, and collected, right? Why have we looked at the Boston bombing and said this is exactly how it's supposed to go, but yet we look at all these school shootings and go, this failed, this failed, this failed, this failed. Why was that so successful? Anybody know? Drinking? Well, so on the treatment side, absolutely. But on the MCI side, well, because they had all the people there. It was all pre-planned, right? It's just like Bloomsday here in Spokane. If a bomb goes off at Bloomsday, it's already set, right? School shootings aren't like that, right? That's why this one's awesome, but I really feel like we can't look at this and say, this is what we should strive for MCIs, right? Well, you should strive for this, but are you ever going to do that? Not in an MCI that's in a school shooting or an office shooting or a mall shooting or whatever, right? This is different because it was pre-planned, right? So you can do that by rehearsing and making those realistic, right? Get with your agency and say, hey, when's the last time we did an active shooter drill? And they go, never. I'll tell you what, now's a good time, right? Let's do one, right? Even if you don't want to do a big one, let's take 10 people and stick them in a room and call it an MCI, and let's just see what that would look like, right? We used to do it the EMT class, and if we got some time in this, we could do it on Saturday. I've got a rug that's got robes on it. We could just fake an MCI with a train wreck on the floor and just talk through one. What does triage look like? Who's in charge of that? Are you comfortable with that? Who's in charge of IC, right? Because IC is supposed to be your like top dog. Well, in a school shooting, could any of you be an MCI in the start of that? Or an IC, sorry? Absolutely, right? You start as the IC, and then some guy in a white helmet shows up, and you go, thank God you're here. It's all yours, right? And we do that, but rehearse it, practice it, look at it over and over and over and over again. If you fail or you didn't do a good job, do it again, right? Do it next week. Make it a yearly training. Do whatever you can to make this as close to prepared for this as you possibly can be. Obviously, following NIMS. Make sure it meets NIMS guidelines, because guess what? That's what we operate under. ICS, the reason for it is it's meant to be uniform across the country so that we can all help each other. God forbid there was an active shooter in Idaho and we had to go over there. Micah Kidd and Deer Park Ambulance on the same page, right? AMR on the same page, right? If something happened at your guys' facility, your EMTs are on the same page as our EMTs. We've never worked together, and it would just be like, no big deal. We just go right on what we're used to, right? That was the whole perk of these states getting rid of state EMT classes and going to an NREMT style platform. We all came out as the same EMTs, okay? Command functions, obviously your incident commander is going to be assumed by your most senior member of the first service on scene. That could obviously change depending on the tiered system that you work in. Scene size up. Here's what I'll tell you. If you arrive on scene first or you're with that first in unit, please give a good, accurate scene size up, right? We always pick on dispatchers because dispatchers get the short end of the stick. They're only telling you what they're being told. So if we complain about the public, why are we so bad at it? You show up in the car wreck and you're like, brush 41 on scene, there's a car and it's wrecked. Stand by. What does that tell the dispatcher?
Nothing.
Nothing. Right? How many patients? Right? Just look. If there's 5 people wandering around the car, okay, there's possibly 5 patients. If there's 3 cars wrecked, you know there's no less than 3 patients. And if they're all minivans, there's no more than, what, 45 people? Right? At least. Right? There could be some on the floor. So be aware of that. Give good, accurate. Ask early and ask for more than you think you need. Right? It's like the idea of helicopters. If your system will allow it, don't put helicopters on standby for stuff that looks bad. Launch the helicopter. Because what you don't want is you get caught up into your assessment and 10 minutes down the road, you find your critical patient, you're like, oh shit, I need a helicopter. Well, they could have already been 10 minutes closer to you, but you made the choice of waiting, and now guess what? They're not there. Okay? This is the other one. How many of you as EMS providers realize that in EMS, everyone likes to talk on the radio? right? Like, it's called a push to talk button, not a push to think button. I haven't quite figured out how we missed that, right? They key the mic and go, you're like, dude, take your finger off the trigger. Just let go, organize your thoughts, and then let's try this again, right? Who's talking on the radio in MCIs?
It shouldn't be the IC.
Only the IC. But how many times, it's so funny, you know, when the Las Vegas shooting happened, I was working at the casino, and we turned on, until they cut the feed, we turned on Las Vegas's scanner. You literally couldn't even tell who the hell was in charge of that, because everyone's talking. You know, all these ambulances like, hey, we're on scene. I wish the dispatcher would be like, yeah, don't care. Like, we dispatched the entire city to one event. I'm sure you got that, right? The incident commander is the only person talking on the radio, okay? When you get there, check in with that person, and they will give you an assignment. Hey, you're in charge of triage. You're in charge of transport. You're in charge of staging. You're in charge of whatever, okay? Think big, order big, okay? Get a little bit crazy. Now, let's say something happened here in Spokane, and you need 15 ambulances. You can ask for them. Are you going to get them eventually? Eventually. They might come from Coeur d'Alene, Rosalia, Fairfield, Deer Park, Chewelah. You'll get 15 ambulances eventually. You might realistically get 9 ambulances that you're going to see 2 or 3 times because they're just driving and dropping, driving and dropping, driving and dropping. Okay? Think big, order big, and ask it early on in those scenes. If you can buy these MCI kits these companies make. I strongly recommend it. A couple $100, maybe $1,000, but it's all there. Whiteboards, triage tags, vests, flags, everything you need to run an MCI is in a bag. You throw that in your chief's rig or your responder rig, and it's all right there. You start handing out clipboards, and you start handing out vests. Everyone's well marked. Everyone knows who everyone is. It's got cheat sheets. All that stuff is there for you to use. Now, on the smaller scale, like this case, like a 2-car motor vehicle collision, in this case, how many patients are we talking about on the low end? 2, right? On the high end, 10, right? So you might show up, brush 41's on scene, 2-vehicle collision, blocking the roadway, massive intrusion. Go ahead and add me 2 ambulances, a fire department for extrication, launch the helicopter, and more in a few minutes. Hop out of your truck, grab Ryan and go, hey Ryan, do a 360 real quick, count the number of patients and give me a rough estimate on criticality. Ryan walks around the scene, walks around this car and says, we've got 1 patient, walk around this car, says we've got 3 patients. Do you still need your 2 ambulances?
Yeah.
Yeah, because now you only have 4 patients, 2 ambulances and a helicopter. Awesome. Hop back on the radio. Hey, dispatch update, division command. We've got 4 patients, 1 is critical, 3 are yellow patients. Go ahead and add law enforcement, add a 2nd engine for traffic control or manpower, and then start working your scene, right? Go, hey Ryan, here's some triage tags, let's start triaging. You can do that with 1 or 2 people. The idea is you as an EMT need to be good at MCIs for 10 minutes by yourself, right? Because that's how long you're going to be there. You're going to show up on scene, you got 10 minutes. And then pretty soon, here comes your fire truck, here comes your ambulances, here comes your cop cars, here comes your whatever, right? Just be good. Survive the onslaught for 10 minutes. And when you see that chief's rig peer on the top of the hill, you're like, oh, thank God he's here. You go, hey, chief, here's the deal. Division command's the name. Here's what we got. Here's what we've done. What do you want from me? You hand him the clipboard and say, glad I'm not you. Okay? The goal of triage, this is what we kind of all miss, and I want you to kind of pay attention to the way this is worded carefully. Afford the greatest number of people the greatest chance of survival. Save as many people as you can that are savable, right? There are going to be people you're going to walk up to. They're not going to be breathing. You're going to head tilt chin lift them. They're not going to start breathing, and you're going to step over them with a black tag and walk away, right? Now, what happens when you have that mom, dad, brother, sister, friend, random person grab you and go, no, wait a second. You're going to stay here and help him, right? Sorry, we got to go, right? You think about 30 people. We were doing this with a class I was teaching yesterday. We used a scenario of a school shooting because I was in a school, and I said, how many students are in here right now? They said 120. I said, great. I said one provider has to triage 120 people, right? I said, how long should it take you to triage one person? I had one student go about 1.5 minutes. I said, okay, 1.5 minutes times 120. And they were like, well, that's too long. You're right. So you got 10 seconds, right? That's it. If you cut it down to 5 seconds, you can blow through triage, man, woo, real quick. Because guess what? You might spend 3 seconds on one person, but because of tourniquets or chest seals or whatever, you might have to spend 10 seconds on the next person, but you saved yourself some stuff. Right? It's like walking into a triage circumstance. What should be in your hands? Triage tags? What about treatment stuff? What's in your hands for treatment? What do you think? Do you need oxygen bottles?
No.
You ain't got enough. Do you need BBMs? Ain't gonna use it. Do you need an AED? Not gonna use it. What are you gonna use in an active shooter and an MCI like that? Tourniquets, chest seals, NPAs. That's it. That's all you need. And a handful of triage tags, right? And you start working through it. You get to bleeding, their arms, whatever, tourniquet them. They got a bullet hole in the chest, the back, the abdomen, the neck. Occlusive dressing. Don't tourniquet the neck. That's not it'll fix all their problems. But NPA, right? Their airway's not open, drop NPAs. Make sense? Most of those active shooter kits that we're wearing on our persons, chest seals, tourniquets, NPAs, triage tags. That's all you need, right? And if there's lots of people, throw them the tourniquet. Hey, put this on your leg, put this on your arm, put this on your leg, put this on your arm. Save yourself some time. Okay? Now, what cracks me up is NIMS is all about like consistency, but yet we still see people that use priority 1, 2, 3, and 4. We see people that use red, yellow, green, and black tag, and we see people that have priority 1, 2, 3, and 0. Right? Priority 4. Priority 0 and black tag patients are all the same. And the reason is, if you say priority 4, you numerically claim them as a priority, when realistically they're dead or fatally injured, therefore they're priority 0. Okay? But green tag, black tag, yellow tag, red tag, right? You walk into a room or start your car wreck or whatever, you make the call. You can hear me, you can walk to me right now. What color do they all get? Green. Right? Green. Right? Then you start through the start triage. Okay? You've got all your green patients out of your scene, so you start at the beginning. Are you breathing? The answer is no. I head, tilt, chin, lift you. Does that fix you? Fix you? Nope, then you're dead. Right? Black tag, step over, and move on to the next person. If you head, tilt, chin, lift, and they do start breathing, you get a red tag, and then you step over and you walk on. Okay? 32 can do is your best case scenario. Respirations less than 30, cap refill of less than 2 seconds, and you can follow my instructions, you are golden. Right? Golden like yellow. Okay? Because if you didn't walk away, you can't get anything better. So you work through this algorithm. Now, if you called all your green patients out of your scene, the best anybody else can get is yellow. Make sense? Because usually they didn't follow your command for whatever reason. Who cares? Yellow tag them. Right? Now, let's think about that. Let's use the example 120 people. 120 people in a school. 20 of them are shot. Right? Which means 100 of them are going to be green patients. What's the best way to transport them to the hospital? A bus. Right? Because we had students arguing like, well, what about, they were like, what about a minivan? Okay, so 8 to 1 vehicle. Right? I want buses. I can put 30 people in a freaking bus and be like, you know, head to an ER.
Bring them to school.
Yeah, you bring 5 school buses. Bring city buses. I don't care. Just bring a big bus. Right? What do school buses hold? 30, 40 kids. Right? Think how quickly you can get all your green patients the hell away from your scene. Right? Now, the thing to be careful of these colors, you got green, you got red, you got yellow, you got black tag. Which patients are your scariest? Not most critical, but which patients have a high rate of getting worse than you thought they were? You could argue yellow. What do you think? I disagree.
Red.
I disagree. You claim them critical, so they're not going to get any more critical, or else they'd be dead.
You think it's green?
Yeah. Why?
Because they could get worse after they.
What assessment did you give them? The only population you literally did nothing.
Yeah.
Right? They got up and ran to you. Now, let's say, here's the deal. We're in this building, and someone came up and shot this building out. Right? Let's say I shot you 4 times and you survived. If I said, come to me for help, how many of you with 4 gunshot wounds would get up and run towards me? Hell yes. And all you do is wait, green tag, green tag, green tag, green tag. You go down and lay on a green tarp, he's got 4 bullet holes. Re-triage, right? I'm gonna go through those pieces. We already talked about those. Re-triage them. Once they're on the green tarp, go, okay, wait a second, you're shot 4 times. You don't belong on the green tarp, we're gonna take you over to the red tarp. That's okay. Red tarp, notice how start triage has nothing to do with injuries. Everyone gets caught up in that. Test questions will always hose you. He's shot 3 times, he's got critical burns, he's got broken legs, he's got whatever. Who cares? None of that has to do with injuries. It all has to do with only 3 things. 32 can do. Right? So get him on the red tarp and go, all right, you got bilateral femur fractures, you're shot once in the arm. He's a higher priority than the shot once in the arm. He's going to go first. Then you start re-triaging them and calling them high priority, next priority, next priority, next priority. And that's one of the pieces that's missed, right? What about paramedics? Like if you took the number of paramedics in Washington State, is there more paramedics or more EMTs? There's way more EMTs, right? Because there's only a small selection of people crazy enough to go to paramedic school, right? We got 1 in the room. Now think about it. Let's say this is an MCI. He's our responder, right? What's the best place for him? Where? Is he a good person to triage? No. Why not? What do most paramedics statistically want to do? They get sidetracked. They want to treat. So we can't let him triage. Where does he belong? What do you think? What? On the red tarp. Because guess what? He can go needle decompress, intubate, get morphine, get ketamine, get whatever. And then what's going to happen? Ambulance is going to show up and he's going to go, hey, yo, squeeze this bag every 5 to 6 seconds. Bye. Right? That's why we wait to teach MCI to the end of an EMT class. Everything you learn in an EMT class goes out the window. There is no abandonment. There's poor documentation. There's no communication. All of your treatments become very, very simple. Plug the bullet hole, stop them bleeding, get them to a hospital. That makes sense? Then once assessed, triaged, and treated, patients are transported according to their priority. Now, the transportation officer is going to be in communication with those hospitals. Hey, yo, where's this person going? And all the hospital is going to know is you're going to get 6 gunshot victims, or you're going to get 6 patients from this MCI. We don't patch. We don't notify the hospital 10, 15 minutes out. The nice thing is it's at the one time you get to surprise the hospital and they can't even get mad about it. You walk in the door and go, surprise, here's the first one, see you in 20 minutes, right? There's all these supervisors and things along those lines. Follow the chain of command. If you've never taken ICS classes, you probably should take. The 4 that are recommended is 100, 200, 700, and 800. Those are your 4 ICS classes. They're free. You can take them online. They're very, very emotionally stimulating. So enjoy those classes.
Just lost all credibility.
All credibility. Good thing the camera can't see me smiling. Again, transportation officer is the one who's communicating with the hospitals, not individual transporting agencies. Then comes the psychological side of things, right? Psychological first aid. This afternoon, got a speaker coming in to talk to you about that psychological side. But just don't forget about, like, think of how draining this is going to be, right? You're going to run patient after patient after patient after patient. Maybe you only see 1 patient. Maybe you see 10 patients. Maybe you see 4 patients. Think about the psychological side of what that could do to you, right? Because I don't know why it always seems like we're always tired, we're always hungry, and that all plays a role in what PTSD and that stuff can do to us as EMS. Okay? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break for lunch. When we come back, we'll watch this video because it's a really good video. It's a little bit long. I just don't want to waste a bunch of time on that. Texas drive kills families and family reunions. In a silver
55 minutes, 96, pedestrian devices, level over and
That starts at 55 was on scene, single vehicle rollover into a crowd.
Visual copies engine 59 on scene, single vehicle rollover into a crowd.
All right, guys, let's go start triage. Get that to what you need. 55 was size up. So we have approximately 10 victims, 1 trap. Okay, just do a heavy rescue response. I have 1 engine, 1 ambulance, and 1 EMS supervisor. This is a level 1 MCI.
Visual copy engine 55 on scene, reporting approximately 10 victims with 1 patient trap. Copy on upgrading this to a heavy rescue. Copy additional resources. Copy level 1 MCI. This will be the bloody incident. Engine 61, truck 54, squad 50, 9504, 9497, 9693, EMS 44, EMS 51, battalion 12, battalion 54, respond to the bloody incident, level 1 MCI, bloody Boulevard and County Drive, command
We got an MCI going. We got approximately 10 patients. So I'd like to assign you MedCom, and I'll have your partner assist my crew with triage. Hold pressure on that wound, okay? We've got a level 1 MCI going, about 10 patients right now, no specific information yet. But assign MedCom and the other medic I've assigned to assist my crew with triage. Got anything on triage unit leader responsibility? With that, I'd like more accurate count on the number of victims and their categories and oversee the movement of all the patients into the treatment area. Here are your folders. Go to work, and I'll back you up with a group soup as soon as I can. Okay. BCMC base and 1135 going.
KBCMC base, this is Medic 491 with a level 1 MCI. How do you copy?
Clear 481, go ahead.
Okay, we are currently at the intersection of Durley and Post with approximately 12 victims that are in the process of being triaged.
Copy all that 491. I'll start calling for bed availability. Please call us back when triage is complete. BCMC clear for now, 1136. I got what do you have? Yeah, 3 minor. That's going to be 2 mediums. 1 delayed, 1 delayed, 1 deceased. All right, Keith, I got more information for you. I have a total of 2 immediates, 2 delayed, 3 minors, and we have 1 deceased. 2 immediate, 2 delayed, 3 minors, 1 DOA for a total of 18. Correct. Here I could probably use another Indian company, especially for the immediates. I'll give you 1 more answer, so I can go ahead and go back to work. Okay. All right, I'll do that. Veteran bloody IC, triage is complete. We have 2 immediates, 2 delayed, 3 minor, 1 DOA for a total patient count of 8, and then probably was down. I'm assigning you as the treatment unit leader. Your vest and clipboard are on the hood of my vehicle. I need you to identify and establish the treatment area and get back to me with resource requests. Hi, Mark. I'd like you to take on patient transportation unit leader. We have 2 immediate, 2 delayed, 3 minor, 1 DOA, so we have 7 to transport.
We have a total of 4 ambulances, either on scene or en route. Let me know what additional resources you need. Medcom's in place with 491, and I have a fast link to the board up front for you.
ABCMC base, go ahead.
ABCMC base, this is Medic 491, this is Medcom. This is with the follow-up call on our MCI. Medication 2, I'm assigning you to the treatment unit. Report to Captain 61, he is the treatment unit leader.
You're going to be ambulance coordinator, and I need you to identify an ambulance staging area.
Hi guys, I want you to work with ALS in the treatment unit. Report to Captain 61, he is the treatment unit leader.
Go ahead and move on to the patient.
Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready? Yeah. Transfer, levy IC, all patients transported, incident complete, all equipment released.
So that's where we'll stop it, just because they kind of go more in depth at each piece of that. But I get a chance to kind of see what that looks like and all the jobs and stuff associated with that. So kind of a good review of what that looks like.